For a lot of people out there, flying can be one of the most terrifying experiences of their life. Many will even go as far as to book alternative methods of transportation just so they don't have to get on a plane. All that effort goes in vain if the airports and planes are safe. But what if the airport itself is the hotspot for danger? Even if you're someone who's never been able to relate to the fear of flying, there are some airports that might just change your mind. Top 10 Best presents Top 10 Most Dangerous Airports in the World. 10. Wellington International Airport, New Zealand. The city of Wellington is commonly also known as Windy Wellington because of how incredibly windy it gets there. On average, wind speeds can get up to around 7.5 meters per second, with random gushes of wind that are even stronger. Combine this with an airplane, and you end up with a dangerously bumpy ride. That's exactly how it is at the Wellington International Airport. The runway itself is extremely small, only measuring 6,000 feet. It also only has one lane, so only one plane can land or take off at a time. The pilots not only have to navigate through the strong winds and land and take off precisely at the right time, since the runway is so short, they also have to make sure they don't end up with the plane in the bay water, making for a very stressful, dangerous experience whether you're landing into Wellington Airport or taking off from it. 9. Gibraltar International Airport, British Overseas Territory. The runway of Gibraltar International Airport is also amongst the smallest ones in the world, at around 5,500 feet long. This isn't the most unusual part about the airport though. It's actually where the runway is, right in the middle of a major highway. The Winston Churchill Highway connects Gibraltar and Spain runs through the runway. Whenever a plane needs to land or take off, the highway is blocked off using barriers and the traffic is halted until the plane is gone. This isn't the only thing pilots have to deal with at this airport. There's also very strong wind shear all around the Rock of Gibraltar, which brings with itself extremely unpredictable turbulence, adding to the challenge of landing and taking off safely. 8. Princess Juliana Airport, St. Martin. The Maho Beach in St. Martin is famous for more than the actual sand and water. If you've seen videos of this beach on Instagram, you'll see planes almost touch people before entering an airport. Yep, we're talking about the Princess Juliana Airport. Not only is the runway of this airport very short as well, at only 7,500 feet long, it also starts extremely close to the shore of the beach, leaving only a few feet of sand between where the water starts and the runway begins. As a plane lands, extremely strong gusts of wind are blown over the beach, blowing sand and water at anyone who stands below. People from all over the world flock to this beach to get that perfect Instagram shot of them with a plane right above their heads, which can lead to accidents. In 2017, a woman died after sustaining injuries because of the impact from the jet blasts of a jet that was taking off from the airport. 7. Narsarsuaq Airport, Greenland. Like most of the airports on our list, this one also features a small runway. It stretches over 6,000 feet. The airport is in Tunilierfik Fjord, an area that is pretty difficult to land in anyway, even if the runway was longer. What makes this area even more dangerous is the fact that there are active volcanoes nearby. If there has been an eruption, pilots also have to deal with volcanic ash flying around everywhere. Even worse is the silica that's in the volcanic ash, which can cause damage to the plane itself. Not only does the pilot need to navigate around the mountains, volcano, and the small runway, they also have to make sure there isn't any damage caused to the plane from any particles in the air. 6. Toncontín Airport, Honduras. This airport's runway is around 7,000 feet long and very, very narrow. Only around 148 feet in width. Because of its odd size, only 757 particular planes in the world are allowed to land there. Anything else would be far too big. Usually, airports have a wide open field for planes to turn and have easier access to the runway. This is especially important if the runway is on the smaller side. The Toncontín Airport is in an area that is surrounded by mountains. In order to get to the runway, pilots have to make the plane do something of a nosedive, and then do what's called a corkscrew descent, and make a sharp turn to get access to the runway. If anything goes wrong throughout the whole process, the plane can end up in a mountain. 1967 was the year when the airport's location first took lives, 50 of them, and ever since over 450 more people have died in the several crashes that took place around this airport. 5. Madeira International Airport, Portugal. This airport's runway was originally only 5,000 feet long. That's one of the smallest ones in the world. A runway that short means that the pilot has to slam the brakes within a split second of landing the plane. Any delays at all can be fatal. The runway is higher up off the ground. Off the edge of it is a beach that connects to the Atlantic Ocean. When you're taking off from this runway, it's just a runway and then water right after. This adds to how crucial it is for planes to come to a stop as soon as possible to avoid tragedy. In 1977, a Boeing 727 landed perfectly, but even though the pilot initiated the brakes soon after, it wasn't enough. The plane slipped off the end of the runway onto the beach below, killing 164 people. After the horrific event, the runway had to be extended by 4,000 feet. The extension is almost as dangerous as the original runway. It's suspended over the ocean, held by columns. 4. Tenzing Hillary Airport, Nepal. Every year, thousands of people visit Mount Everest and hundreds attempt to climb it. Getting to the area is obviously a difficult feat in itself. Not many flights can actually make it even close to the mountain. One of the main airports that can get you close is the Tenzing Hillary Airport. But to even go to the airport, you have to face some real danger. The runway here is a mere 1,700 feet long and is built on an incline, with a steep 700-meter drop on one side. The rest of the airport is surrounded by the Himalayan mountain ranges. In the past few decades, several people have lost their lives on this airport, and since nothing can really be changed there, the numbers might keep increasing over time. 3. Courchevel Airport, France. Matching Tenzing Hillary Airport, the Courchevel Airport in the French Alps also has a runway measuring 1,700 feet. Anyone who's visiting the Courchevel ski resort has to take a flight to this airport. As this runway is literally in the mountains, it's not surprising that one of its sides has a steep drop as well, where the runway ends abruptly. What makes this even worse is the fact that the runway is built on an incline. It takes an expert pilot to be able to take off on such a short runway that also goes uphill. None of the instrument procedures can be used on this airport because of its size and location, leaving the pilots on their own to maneuver the plane successfully off the ground. 2. Hwangcho E. Roskin Airport, Saba Island. The island of Saba is only 13 square kilometers in size. This is the island that is also known as the King Kong Island. The tiny island also has an airport on it, the Hwangcho E. Roskin Airport. The size of this one will blow your mind. It's only 1,300 feet in its entirety. This makes it the shortest commercial runway in the world. The runway itself is right at the foot of the mountain. Each side has a drop to the sea right below it. To land at this airport and actually come to a halt in one piece, the pilots have to be absolute experts at their job, which is why no regular planes are allowed to land here. 1. Paro International Airport, Bhutan. The Kingdom of Bhutan is a little bit smaller than Switzerland. The entire kingdom has only one airport. Any flights in or out have to go through the Paro International Airport. The airport is very, very small, surrounded by tall mountains and is only visible on clear days. This is why the airport only operates during sunlight hours. Although the pilots have machinery to tell them where the airport is, they still need to really search for it to actually see it with their own eyes, even though that's something they're professionals at. Only 8 pilots in the entire world are allowed to fly to this airport. The 6,000-foot runway is seen after the pilots make several dangerous maneuvers to get to the general area of the airport, one of which is a 45-degree dive before they have to drop to the runway in an instant. They see the runway pretty much right before they touch down. One miscalculation and the plane could land somewhere far off the small runway, resulting in absolute catastrophe. making this the most dangerous airport in the world. That's a wrap for the top 10 most dangerous airports in the world. Which one of these freaked you out the most? Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.